Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Ratitude Podcast. As often, I just have such amazing friends and acquaintances and people I've met all over the world. And today's guest, Ismail Irfan, is one of the most incredible young people I've ever met. He signed up without knowing anyone to come on our Vietnam trip, our Dr. Joe neuroscience trip to Vietnam back in last April. And what an amazing story this young man has. He's in Pakistan now, and he's from Pakistan. And we teased him a lot about a lot of different things because at that time he was living in Dubai. Then he went to Thailand. Then he went to Malaysia, and he's just all over the world. I'm just so excited to hear a little bit more about his story. When he came with us, he didn't know how to swim. He barely knew how to talk to a girl. We did all sorts of kind of fun exercises with Ismail, who we call Smiles. Firstly, because he smiles. He was always smiling, and he's got such a beautiful smile. But his name, we found out, means smile. And so please welcome the beautiful soul, Ismail Irfan.
Thank you very much for having me on, and such an amazing introduction. This is by far the best introduction someone has made for me, and hilarious too.
Well, I believe in the future there's going to be some even better introductions for you because you're going to do some amazing things in life. But one of the things I wanted to start from the beginning, because while you've told me your story, I think it's important for our listeners to understand kind of where you came from and the obstacles you've overcome to become this brilliant management consultant that helps small businesses all over the world. And certainly if someone's listening and they have a small business and want some help and want to grow, Ishmael's your man. So tell us a little bit about your upbringing and whatever you pops into your head, Ismail.
Absolutely. First of all, again, thank you very much for having me. Yeah, it's such an honor. I used to talk to Kristen a lot of the times, like, oh, Robert, I'd love to meet him sometime. And then I met you, and then now here I am. So it's such an honor to be here. To start with, I am a business growth strategist for small businesses and teams. And where I started was when I was, I guess, 14 years old. That was way back. What I would do is I would go on Google and I would search, what is the highest paying profession in the world? And I would find it's an accountant. Then I found something, a job that pays even more, a surgeon, and then something better, and then something better. And I was never satisfied. I was like, if I do this, there's always going to be a gap on my income. That is very funny. And what actually motivated me was coming from this background where there was always an unexpected income in my household, where I would see my parents having arguments around money. And I was like, this ends with me. However, I had no idea where I want to get started from. So I started as a graphic designer. I started learning those skills. It took me 2 years to learn that. And once I mastered that, I didn't get a design job anywhere.
And you were in Pakistan.
I was in Pakistan at the time. And I got this offer from this company that was based in Kent. Or I don't remember, maybe it was based in London, and they hired me as a salesperson for their team, and I had no skills. So there was no salary, but I started working on commission basis, and my job was to sell to cold leads who didn't even know about this company.
And how old were you then?
I guess 16.
16 years old, you started selling for a London company. Okay, I just want to make sure people understand kind of, how old are you right now, Ismail?
I'm 20, 1 month, and I will be 20.
So he's under 20 right now. Okay, so everyone pay attention here. This is a man that's going places. All right, so continue on. You started at 16 selling on commission to a London-based company.
Yeah, and the salary was very low. The commissions were very low. And that is because I was part of this company that was very new. It was just finding its way into the market. However, we successfully scaled it to 6 figures in 18 months. So it was already making 6 figures. And I'm really grateful for the person who gave me the chance to actually learn sales, and he put a lot of effort into me. And such an idiot I was at that time, I didn't know anything. So I'm really grateful for that opportunity. However, there was this point where I realized that I can be making much more. And so I had some difficult communications with the owners of this company, and I was like, I should be paying more, and we should be selling high ticket products, we should be selling high ticket services. That's gonna scale the company really easily. However, their focus was on low ticket products and scaling through funnels and mass marketing. So eventually I left the company, and this is where this was the most scary part, because at this time I was supporting my family and we had only one income, and I was like, what have I done? What have I really done? And now what are we doing? But there was also, at the same time, I was very satisfied with that decision.
And how many brothers and sisters did you have?
I have three sisters.
Three sisters and you, and then mother and father, and you're the sole income earner at 16 years old.
That is true.
Okay. So you didn't finish high school, or did you?
I didn't. I had to leave
Okay.
for this job.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the decision I made. I was more interested in this direction, and I was thinking, if I do the school, I won't be able to completely focus on this. And so I hired a English coach and a life coach, and so to really understand and to be able to speak English. At one point I was making $200, and I was paying 110 out of that to someone in the US to teach me English.
Wow.
And that was one of the riskiest thing I ever did, because that was more than 50% of my income. It sounds very funny now. And so I started this marketing business, which was again registered in the UK. I registered it in the UK, started hiring an accountant from the day one, got all the business cards and business account. And then I was like, okay, I've got all of it that a business needs. And now there's this big zero in my bank account. So I need to do something. So I had no connections, no referrals, no one to make introductions. So I decided, okay, let's do some cold emails. And I did cold emails for a long, long, long while. And it took me about 37 calls, more than that, actually, 37 initial calls, and then around 50 calls to close my first sale. And that was 700 pounds. And so I kept doing that and kept growing from there. And once I realized I have something that I have proven to the world, like I have a proven formula that works, and I moved from cold outreach to more sustainable approaches. I realized that I'm working till 7 in the morning. I'm getting 2 to 3 hours of sleep, and this is really not sustainable. At that point, I realized that this is the phase every business owner goes through. The first goal that they have is to make a lot of money, but the next goal they have is they don't have time and they have no energy. And that is when I hired Kristen, and I hired my coach Chris Kenny and Julie Cabezas to help me resolve this issue, and to basically look at my business again and redo it, because the business model made money, but it certainly did not do a really good job at taking care of other aspects like my health or the time, the amount of time it was taking to deliver the services. And we redid it. And so we built a model where I could have my time, I could have that, I could prevent burnout, but at the same time I could make money. And we started hiring, and we started doing all sorts of good stuff that a business does after the first phase.
Now, hold it, Ishmael. You're like 18 years old when you're doing this, right?
Yes.
How did your mind develop? I mean, like, how did you develop your mind before 14? That 14, you're going to start working, and you're going to work till 7 o'clock in the morning, sleeping only 2 or 3 hours. What's the uniqueness in you that our audience can go like, how does he do that? Like, why did he do that? Or was it just you saw your parents fighting about money? Was that the motivator? There's got to be some other things that we're missing here.
I think that a lot of us think that the people who make it have something, but they actually lack something. So what I lacked is, I was looking at my future and I was thinking, if I study and the economy in a third world country is not good, so I was thinking if I study and I go that path, I have no jobs. If I don't do that and I do a business with my dad, then I can already see the future.
What did your dad do?
He used to do a lot of import export, but when COVID hit, that business,
Yeah.
yeah, that was no good. I could already see the future, and I was seeing the ups and downs in his business from a very early stage. So I was pretty sure that I don't want to go that path, but I also don't want to go that path. So the only option I had was to do something online, was to choose something completely out of the way. So having no other choices really made it easy for me to work and hustle and grind. Even though it's not the most sustainable way to build a business, it really did help me to get started.
And for people that don't know, Ishmael has mentioned Kristen a couple of times. Kristen's on my team at Radnody Research Institute. She's my director of Juicy and Delicious, which means she's my entrepreneur. So she's going out there and figuring out how to build our brand. And she's got her own business and was coaching Ishmael. And that's how we connected, some time ago. So again, your mindset, though, I mean, at 16 years old, most young men are thinking about playing basketball or asking the girl out. And you're thinking into the future and what's my future going to look like, and how am I going to make more money, and how am I going to use technology to be able to make a better life, not only for myself but for my whole family. Like, how did that happen? I'm just, it just blows me away that you just came upon this.
I think I did have a lot of role models as I kept going on this journey. So I was also this. I think when you are in those teenage years and you are young, you have this big ego, right? And you think you have got it all right. But having those young role models at such a young age, like the English coach I was working with, and then this company that hired me, there were two really good people at this company. And while I observed them, I realized that the people who are really making something out in the world, they basically are the most humble people I've ever seen, and they take criticism really, really well. When something in them gets triggered, they are not like, "Hey, this person that did that to me, or this situation, or this happened to me." They are like, "Why am I creating this, or why am I getting triggered by XYZ?" And so that taught me a lot of accountability is whatever is going in my life, whether it's maybe it can be some financial loss, it can be sickness, it can be, okay, why am I ending up in this place again and again and again? It's my responsibility because in one way or another, either this situation, this circumstance has to teach me something that I'm not learning, or I am creating or manifesting this.
So you get to this place, however you got to this place, you're at this place, you're ambitious, you're perseverant, you're resilient, you got all these beautiful characteristics. And then you start a marketing company. Like, how did you know what to do? How are you going to consult with business owners?
The company I worked at, that was a coaching company.
Okay.
So they hired me as a salesperson. I started selling and they liked it. So they also hired me as a marketing manager and also as a
Oh.
designer. And there were not a lot of people in that company. And whenever they were like, "We are looking for this," I was like, "I know this." And I didn't. I would just go
And
and
figure it
I would
out.
figure it out. A lot of the things I had to figure out. And so that's how I got a really good understanding of running ads and social media marketing and content creation and talking to people. And there was a time when I was good at selling on phone, selling on messages. I was like, when I go on Zoom, I really shiver. I
Ah.
started shaking. I was like, either I can wait or I do what my again this really amazing gentleman who was teaching me English, he said, just do it, just do it. And I was like, hey, you know what? you are looking for a salesperson to sell on Zoom, I'm willing to do it. And they gave me a chance again.
Okay, so is your marketing companies teaching people how to actually then sell?
That's part of it. So
Okay,
we are teaching now a lot of the things, including how to sell better, how to leverage, how to hire and retain that right talent, yet at the same time, how to manage their own mental health and physical health.
okay. And you say we? Is there more than you?
So there's Christian, there's me, and there's an assistant. So it's a very small business right now.
Okay, okay, okay. And tell me about your clients or what you do for them or some of your successes.
So a lot of my clients are either coaches or creatives, and they are looking to scale their business without having to hustle. So one of the trends that's going on right now is hustle and grind and just go in and isolate yourself, which is very unhealthy, even though it serves in the short term. And a lot of my clients have a family, they have kids and a spouse. And so one of my clients, she's a coach, and when she came to us, she was in about $30,000 in debt and her business was not working. And so what we did is we created a new client strategy for her, client attraction strategy for her. We redid her packaging and offering. And this was a client who had never sold anything above 4,500. And by the time we finished our engagement, she was already making consistent sales at $10,000. So that's one example where a client starts to sell higher ticket products so that they have less clients and more time. Other examples where a client comes and then they want to scale big time. And so we create a marketing strategy and funnels and any marketing materials that they need to help them scale that offer.
Okay. And so, recently, artificial intelligence, AI, has become very popular. And we're hearing about how important it's going to be for the future. And a friend of mine, one of the Tony Robbins trainers, she just released a brand new book on artificial intelligence marketing. Have you gotten into that at all? And there's any comments about artificial intelligence?
I think it's certainly going to play a big role, and that's going to make things even more interesting and easier for the people who are willing to accept it and embrace it.
Are you going to be one of those people?
I'm certainly going to embrace it. However, it's the speed at which it's happening is very hard to stay updated because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's happening at a
Yeah.
lightning speed.
Yeah, that's what I was telling a friend of mine that yeah, she wrote this book and I got the book, but I'm guessing it's already a year or two out of date because, in order to publish a book, it had to have been written probably a year or two ago.
Exactly.
And it just kind of keeps it, but it's accelerating so fast. And after my last trip, my Dr. Joe teaching session in Croatia, I went on this trip to Sicily, and the organizer of it, a friend of mine, Giuseppe, he was the first AI director of AI at Microsoft, and now he teaches artificial intelligence for businesses down in Colombia. And he was just telling me in this to all our audience, artificial intelligence, it is coming big time, and you better be doing something a little bit every day, whether it's just playing on chat GBT or something, but just it's going to impact your lives big time.
Absolutely. I think it's going to impact almost everyone's lives. And the ones who are willing to embrace it are going to win big time. Just like
Yes.
anything else. Like we used to have cable and TV, and now we have Netflix. And so innovation and whoever embraces it. But the key is not overwhelming yourself with AI because it can get overwhelming and it can be a rabbit hole.
Yeah. So where are you headed? What's your future? What's your dreams?
Now I'm ready, and or I can say we are ready, and now I am starting to hire the first few key players of this team, Lixue Consulting and Media. And so we have been working with individuals and coaches and consultants, solopreneurs, and now I'm ready to step into working with companies and teams and small businesses who need help with their marketing and act as a fractional CMO for them. So, Chief Marketing Officer. And so that looks like the best next step for me. And that's where my heart is.
And are you going to be in Pakistan, or are you going to move somewhere, or do you not know?
I will move out of Pakistan. I'm here temporarily, and that is going to happen very soon. But right now, I'm not sure where.
And then a longer term, what's your dreams?
Longer term, so I'm gonna do my best to somehow end up in the US
Okay.
because that I think US is the opportunity of lands. That's where I wanna be in the end, or probably if possible within the 2 to 3 years.
But doing what? I mean, do you want to start like an Amazon or a Google? Do you want to be like, those guys are gazillionaires? Is that your financial goal? Do you have a financial goal?
I do have a financial goal of 8 figures. I
Okay.
want to build a company that's doing at least 8 figures within the
Uh-huh.
next 5 to 7 years. If an opportunity comes, I'm open to creating something like Google or that's the new Amazon or whatever it might be. But I think in general, living in the US and living in any first world country that's doing good, and a lot of Americans might not agree with this because they are living there and the economy, but it's still better in terms of business than
Sure.
a lot of the other countries.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes. I think we as Americans, oftentimes people take things for granted, and we don't realize that, how good it really is here. The political system, as much as people don't like it, I challenge people to find someplace that's better. There just isn't a perfect system. But anyway, okay. So you're going to be an 8-figure guy, but you're not even 20 years old yet. So if you were advising some 20-year-olds, I don't know if we've got an audience of 20-year-olds, although very interestingly, I found from Kristen, who tracks all our podcast recordings and how we're doing, our Gratitude podcast show is the number 11 rated health and fitness podcast in Argentina, of all places. So
That is amazing.
yes, it is. I don't know that I do know someone in Argentina, but one person in Argentina, and somehow there are people in Argentina listening. So if we've got any 20-year-olds listening out there, what kind of advice would you give to a 20-year-old? Not necessarily about what you're doing, but just in life, because you have been living your life. You've been living rad and loving contagiously, as I like to say.
I would say take risks, take big risks, but not too big, calculated big risks. At one point, I had to invest a lot of money into mentors, but that's what's changed the game for me is having all this information and experience at hand and getting all these questions answered in one moment that might have taken me a year or two just to test all these theories that I had. So take risks and hire mentors.
It's so interesting that you bring that up about hiring mentors, because I guess I grew up in a Hungarian culture, and in our family, and I don't know if that's true for Hungary or just my family, it was do it by yourself. We were encouraged not to ask for help. We can do it. You could overcome. You're strong. You're powerful. We don't need anyone. In fact, those other people are kind of scary because, my parents came from a communist country, and there was people telling on each other and all sorts of things. And it wasn't till I went to a Tony Robbins event where Tony, the first day, he said, I have like 5 coaches. High performance people have coaches. And I just sat there and go like, what? I had no idea. And that afternoon, I hired my first coach. And he was an amazing guy that led me to all sorts of places. And now I think I have 5 coaches helping me in different areas of my life. But you did it at 20 or at 18 or at 16 or at 14. Like, wow, you invested more than half of your salary into a coach.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure once you hired your mentor, it would have been a complete game changer because
Yeah.
they can open your perspective to a completely new world that you might not even have thought about on your own.
So what was the best piece of advice that you got from one of your mentors? that was a game changer for you?
What I have seen is whenever I bring an issue to my mentor or a challenge, and this is again, I'm really, really grateful and I'm so blessed to have these mentors and not someone who would tell me, oh, Smile, you are right. So they would ask me this question, especially Chris Kenny. He would ask me, why are you creating this? And not, okay, this person did this, or this situation happened, or this thing didn't work. It would always say, why am I creating this, or why are you creating this? Or if something gets triggered, keeping me super, super accountable was the best thing they did to me. And that was that was the best thing they did.
Yeah, so oftentimes that's kind of a common coaching tool is, you ask yourself why 5 times, and always know your why, because that turns on that internal motivation for you, which you have like truckloads of motivation within you. You're like the most motivated young person I know, and just an amazing human being. It's really, it's just, I'm smiling when I think about you, and we call you Smiles, like you're smiling right now. So, how do people get a hold of you if they want some coaching or mentoring from you, either as an individual or as a business? And particularly for young people, I'd encourage them to reach out to Ismail. How do they reach you?
So you can go to lixuemedia.com. I think they're going to be adding the links on it.
For sure, we are.
Right. So that's one way of seeing, or you can email me at smile@lixuemedia.com, LIXUE media.com.
And what would you do? You have a discovery call with them, or what do you do?
Exactly. So I would love to have a connection call or a discovery call with them, get to know them, see what their problem and challenge is, what they want to do in a year time or 5 year time. And once we do this, we will set up one more conversation, and then we will discuss their action plan and how we can work together.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. And so, Ishmael, as we're coming to a close here, what would you like to tell our audience? Those people in Argentina, or I'm highly rated in Romania too, which like I'm just amazed. So we must have a worldwide audience. If you're talking to the world, which your business is worldwide already, based on where you've lived and just the clients you've gotten, what would you tell our audience here?
The thing that changed the game for me was understanding. So, for example, this is a glass of water, right? And so a lot of people, and I was like this. So this is half filled, right? And what people would do is we would pour more water into this, so we can say, okay, I am operating at 50% of my potential. And then I would pour more water into this glass. And then I will see, oh, if I'm working harder or adding more water to this glass, I'm getting better results. And so they keep doing it, but they don't realize that now the glass is full. There is no more space. So now you cannot just work hard or think positive and get results. What you have to do is you have to get a better glass, get a bigger glass. And what I mean by that is you have to change the way you see yourself. So as you want to scale the business, as you want to grow, get a better relationship or get into better health, it depends on the way you see yourself. So you have to get better self-esteem so that now you have a better class. And so working hard or only thinking positive doesn't do the work. What also needs to be done is working on your identity and all those limiting beliefs, and seeing what is the glass that I'm holding, what are my limiting beliefs, what are my values.
Beautiful, beautiful. Ishmael, it smiles. It's been so wonderful to have you here. I'm so proud of you and excited for you and the things that you're going to be creating in the future. It's just going to be great to watch you. And I'm so pleased to be able to call you a friend. I remember our picture, next to each other with our banana outfits in
Yeah,
Vietnam. And I
that
hope
was
that you
super
come.
fun.
Yeah, I hope that you come on one of our trips again in the future and keep us all posted on all those beautiful things that you're going to be accomplishing and creating an amazing legacy for the peoples of the world.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me. It's such an honor to be one on one with you.
Yeah, for sure. And how's your swimming going? How's your talking to girls going? You don't have to answer those. Ishmael, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.